students. So for this week, you are reading Phenotype by Alexandra Chang in Best American Short Stories 2024. Now, things I want you to keep in mind as you're reading this story. This is a very quiet story. This is a very kind of lived in story. This is a story that is really kind of charting a relationship, a young woman kind of getting older and, becoming more comfortable in her status kind of as a new adult. So keep an eye on what you see in terms of Judith and KJ, in terms of how they're interacting, how KJ is having an impact on Judith, how the two of them are interacting and kind of growing together as a couple and also in both of their senses of adulthood. So there are a lot of like small, lovely things about this. Chang has a lot of what Raymond Carver would call like the beautiful commonplace. She has, a lot of small writing that is really beautifully rendered, as well as, this is these are more kind of events and situations that might be more recognizable for us perhaps than, what we were seeing in other stories that might have been more kind of high octane or big events. This is kind of very small. There isn't, there aren't like big shocking moments. No one gets killed in this. There's no violence. Instead, these are the small movements forward of someone moving into adulthood. And there's a lot of really lovely stuff about just the interactions between Judith and KJ in terms of their physicality, in terms of their emotions toward each other. So I want you to keep an eye on these things and think about how is Chang eliciting an emotional reaction for you, and how is she getting you to become invested emotionally in this relationship between Judith and KJ, and in Judith herself as a person and as someone who is really on that cusp of adulthood. So there are a lot of things I want you to kind of keep in mind as you're reading this. And think about this also once you complete it. Remember to go back and give it a second read through, paying attention to where your emotions triggered. And looking at the second read through should also be when you start taking it apart as a student instead of just a reader discovering for the first time. So I hope that you all enjoyed this particular story. It's a really interesting one. It's a fun one to read. And I will be interested in reading about a lot of your reactions to it. Thank you so very much. And I hope that you all enjoy this really lovely story.